Next, we're going to headsets on to start the session. This is the blue ones.
Up to 80% of CRM projects are D2 based. Today, I'm going to show you how you can deploy those tools, how you can keep your CRM in the vein of success. And I'm going to do that in 7 steps. But before we launch into those 7 steps, let's look at the difference between CRM success and CRM fail. Failed CRM projects have been massively both in direct expenses and in lost opportunities. In summary, you can incur increased costs, reduced productivity, lost customers, and perhaps even staff. And in more detail, you may lose up to 60% of budget wasted, up to 30% drop in productivity, 25% customer churn, 20% lost revenue opportunities. And after all of that, 2 to 3 times the budget of implementation costs. And all of that, not surprisingly, can lead to long-term brand reputation. So not the sort of situation I myself in. If we look at success and contrast that, what we get is increased revenue, increased productivity, and decreased costs. So it really is a massive difference. And to put a little bit on those bones, we've got a 20% average increase in sales rate, a 34% improvement in sales productivity, a 27% increase in customer retention rates, up to 30% boost on your marketing return, a 25% reduction in cost, and up to 20%, though I personally think that's a low number, in data accuracy. So we really do have chalk and cheese between success and failure. That is why there are so many organizations, and they might be your organizations, they might be alliance circles, who are looking to boost their CRM. So, what do we need to do to ensure that us, our project, or a client project when we're advising, stay right side of that success failure divide? Do. But before I go into those 7 steps, as Martin said earlier, first up, I'd like you to relax. I'd be in this space, helping organizations implement a wide range of CRM technologies for over 30 years now. I don't like admitting that on this way too much. For the last 22 years, my focus has been helping organizations with Microsoft Dynamics 365, which, in fairness, is a marketing leading. And as I'll touch on later on, the technology is rarely reason. So now we are moving into 7 steps to successful CRM solution. And I'd like you to notice that I typed this presentation a CRM solution. And that is because the technology only will. So let's march on and look at those 7 steps that will lead us to success. First of all, it's important to understand that successful CRM is simple but right easy. And that is because it sits at that interface between technology and business. But you will have to create change, probably in both sides. I know you will like change. Massive amounts of secrecy. So the first step is to think to the future. Don't make the mistake of creating the right and shiny version of what already is. That will give you business return. If the business is struggling in certain areas, making the bright and shiny version of those struggles, I show you. So what do I mean by that? We need to look at the future and many different areas of the future. So you need to be thinking about future users and supporting members. And you don't want to implement something just for your current team. You need to make it work. Currently working for us, probably don't know them. And in extreme cases, they might not involve it, but you need to think about it. We also need to think about future changes in technology. You don't want to make something work today, but as soon as something changes in software, it's all going to work. And you need to think about future changes here. Now we move on to what I suspect some of this presentation is going to be about, and that is technology. But these projects are way more than technology. In fact, the technology is important. It's important, but it's still the project is not to implement sales next. I know it's the project is to deliver results of requested promise in business space. And they were bifurcated across the business and will only, in many cases, in a single way. Bigger issue. I often hear people see people asking questions. I said, I'm in an entire CRM telephone. That is absolute question. In fact, most of the mainstream CRM technology it's the things that sit around when you're looking at what you need to focus on. Processes are and they are probably the main area when you're designing your solution, when you're setting out your requirements, it is your business processes. Successful CRM will deliver you successful business processes on steroids. So you need to understand how do your client-facing people interact. Where do your new customers come from? How do your users interact with those right the way through the journey From first realizing they have a problem and you maybe solve through drinking blood because lessons deserve is, or perhaps moving data is the key, and data is the oxygen that those processes run. So again, got to get it right. The best processes in the world that are starved of quality oxygen are not done. So when we're thinking about data, what do we need to do? We certainly do need to make it as easy as possible for our users to enter data. But that's actually not the most important thing. When we're thinking about data, we should think first and foremost about what data, reports, dashboards, and other outputs do we want this system to give us. Once we know what the outputs need, then about what the inputs should be in order to get those outputs. And if you're looking at the process, you see user data, and it doesn't put it directly to an output. Now we come on to users. And users are the kingdom. And I say that because when we start looking at the reasons that these projects fail, 70% of the identified reasons are bad or users feeling unable to use the system, or users feeling that they could use it, but their own way is better. And of course, better in that context means better their own. That might be easier, it might be quicker, it might be a range of other things, but it needs better as seen from their perspective. And now, as I get towards the pointy end of this presentation, this is one of my main worms. What do I mean by worms? Well, worm is very special word, and what worm means is right once, really many. So when you are designing your solution, your system across the world, every single item of data, that should be written once, maybe by the customer, so it's in a form of website, maybe by a member of the team, but it should be written here and then put into there. So it should be written once. But I'll be honest, that is an idea. And the 7 steps of my 7 steps is enjoy the journey. And I say that because there has never been a CRM project that is delivered in one fell swoop and is totally successful right off the bat. The successful ones do a bit, are only to change, take feedback, based on all of that, and they do a bit more and repeat and repeat and repeat. But when you're thinking about that journey, what you want is to ensure that at every step you are delivering more to your users and they have reason. It doesn't want to be just another use or another something. It needs to from a user perspective to deliver. So that is the 7 steps done at a high speed. So over to you. Any questions around process step 3. That's why that one is processes are key. Because when we take that and combine it with future, that combination of taking advantage of stuff that right now don't know about really, but it's still immersive. I'm amazed that sometimes when I go into an organisation and I'll start to up this immersive and they'll say, "Oh, we're going to ourselves, do this, that, and or we're going to zero or money or name a software." The software is not. We'll be going to some tech, some tool, something, and you do. But my pushback, whenever I get that, why? Why go to that? Why are you going to that? You know, some of these tools, yes. But once you get that why, then you're getting an opening minds about they would do this differently and differently, make better. But as soon as you stick with me, I've got to go to myself. I've got to whatever. Okay. Oh, it's got to be lots of I wish we had the rest of the afternoon because I could speak to this idea of should be a bit later. I think the main problem is the practice management by its very definition doesn't need to start just at these sites and agreements. And yet true CRM transcends that. So true CRM starts with when somebody goes totally the practice management first realizes they do currently this working, and then we have a series of steps that get to the foot afterwards it's work. Also, the very nature of any practice movement and the practice is we hope we do a number of jobs when the job is TST return or good return, years worth of advisory or whatever. We're not transaction as in I've done one, go away and maybe it won't work back again. It wants a relationship. So I think there's two parts to your answer. Number one, practice management the best part of it. And number two, if you've got the practice management should it's been working in it, or maybe what they want is CRM to be asked to do earlier. And the topic I only barely touched on is an integration between the two. Now I'm going to 𝗍𝗵𝗲, so but I'm more than happy to take questions offline, network drinks, whatever.
So there's 7 steps to successful CRM. Let's to